with your indulgence, I'll get started then. You're just here to accompany Michael McDonald then, your husband.
Yeah, and do a little press.
And do a little press.
Yeah.
I see. Well, is there an album in the works now, or is it out?
Well, my second album is out.
Yeah.
And I just got an opportunity to do 2 songs on a soundtrack for a movie coming out in the States called Scarface with Al Pacino. And the same man, Giorgio Moroder, did Flashdance, the producer. So it's a good thing. So I got 2 songs.
How did you get involved in that?
Irving Azoff recommended me, so I went down and did one of the songs, and then a couple weeks later they called me up in Lake Tahoe and said, "Come back, do another one. We like you." So they'll be on the soundtrack, and hopefully, I don't know. I got another call saying the first one I did could be a single, first single from the thing. And if so, there might be a video, which is great, because I haven't done one yet, so I'd love to do one.
Is that right? Well, whose songs are they?
They're Giorgio's. Giorgio and his partner Peter, I'm not sure of his last name.
And as I recall, he also wrote Flashdance as well. He actually wrote the song.
I believe he did.
Yeah. Oh, that's very promising.
So, yeah, it's exciting. And it's different for me, different music and different sound.
Oh, really?
Well, it's not the Mike McDonald production, so it's, it'll be a little different, dance music.
Oh, is that right?
It's up-tempo, very much like, the same type of music.
So the Scarface is a modern piece then, it's not any...
It's actually, it's a remake of an old film.
Oh, the Cagney one, yeah.
Right. So they just did a new modern-day version starring Al Pacino. There's a lot of press in the States over it. I thought the movie was out. When they called me to do it, I thought that the film was out already. But apparently not. So it's a December release. I don't know about the soundtrack. The film will be out.
Have you already seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
I recorded the last song before we flew here. The day before.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Who was backing you on that?
I'm not really even sure the musicians. It was almost like being called in for a commercial.
Is that right?
It wasn't like doing your own album where you're there for everything. And I know that Richie Zito was doing the guitar work, and he was there helping Giorgio a lot in the studio with me. But it was kind of one of those things where they had maybe 2 or 3 instruments for down. And I came in, did my thing, and left. And then they put the background singers on and finished up. So.
What about the new album? See, I asked you about that a second ago. We got into this conversation about the movie. What's happening with that, or is it made, or?
Yes, it's out.
It's already out.
Yes.
And when did that come out?
May.
May.
Yeah.
So I haven't been briefed by the record company yet.
That's all right. Neither have I.
And how did it do in the States?
I didn't get so much push.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think you could have used a little bit more.
I could have used anything.
There were no singles released or anything?
Yeah, there were, but, legally. That's about it. So, it's getting some play, but it's not, there's no one really going to the stations for Amy Holland.
Oh, I see.
Unfortunately.
So hopefully the soundtrack will go break it then.
I'm hoping on it. Yeah. They're a lot more supportive over here of me than they are in the States. So, they really seem to be working more than English bands,
That's the thing. So Michael produced that album, the second one.
Right.
Also the first one too?
Yes.
Oh, he did the first one as well?
He co-produced the first one with Patrick Henderson.
Patrick Henderson, that rings a bell.
He wrote Real Love with Michael. He's written a lot of things. He used to work with Leon Russell a long time ago. He's great.
Was that before you were married, the first album?
Yeah, we've known each other for 12 years.
Is that right?
We've been friends. And we didn't start dating till we were in the middle of mixing the first album.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'd gone out here and there, but we didn't really started living together after that. But I don't talk about the living together part in the browser room.
But you're legally married now?
Oh, yeah. We got married in May.
Was that right?
Yeah.
That's right when the album came out?
Yeah.
Huh. And Had he always been working with you musically then over the 12 years?
No, actually when we met, we both had moved out. I was from New York and Michael was from St. Louis. And we both moved to California when we were teenagers. I was 17 and he was 19 when we met. And we both signed to an independent producer who was doing Feliciano and a couple people. It was Bell Records then before it became Arista. And I had a singles deal, so I cut a 45 and Michael was on the same label, so the producer used to hire him to play piano for me, rehearsing. So he wound up writing the B-side of my single, Singing Backup, a long time ago. So that we worked together then, and then after that, that never really happened. Nothing happened with that. And we lost touch for about 5 years, and then I saw his name on and Katie lied on Steely Dan album. I said, there he is, So we got in touch about a year later, and he came down and heard me at the club I was singing in, and said he'd always wondered what happened, and, he was interested, so he offered to help me make some demos to get a deal. And the demos we cut, actually, two of the songs were cut as masters and were used on the first album, two of the songs. And they were so happy with it. Of course, he was real hot at the time, so they wanted him to produce, and he finally went for it.
How did you first meet? At the young age of 17 and 19?
We met through this producer that we were both signed to.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. He, when I signed with him, he said, I have a young guy about your age that I'm working with. You two should meet. Your music is similar. Because we came from the same background, same roots of, growing up with R&B and, the Motown sound. And so, he felt that we would jive together, which we did.
Yeah.
So that's where it started from.
How would you say evaluate him, first of all, as a musician, like his strong points and weak points?
His?
Yeah. First of all, his strong points.
Well, obviously his voice and his writing. And I think his keyboard style, he's always saying, put Carl guys, they know so much more, they're so much better players. But he has a style, his style can't be, duplicated. I think that speaks for itself,
You rarely hear him, though, except for he just usually does chords to back himself. You really hear him take off.
He's playing a lot more.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's playing a lot more. He takes off a little bit more now.
How
he did on his solo album. He did a lot more lead things.
I remember there was one. What was it? The early recordings of Michael McDonald. I heard a little bit playing on that. Anyway, how about his weak points, if any?
Boy, I don't know. I haven't seen him yet.
Is that right?
He's so serious about what he does, and he's very, he's a workaholic. We have a studio at home now, 24 tracks. So he's a student. He's always learning, trying to figure out, what's going on and how he can fit in and work it into what he's doing. But I don't see him as a follower,
He's more of a trailblazer.
Yeah, I've always seen him that way. It may sound prejudiced because I'm his wife, but knowing him so long, he's always been good. And he's always been different. So,
how about yourself as a musician? Your drawbacks and your, so say your pluses. First of all, what are you strong at?
Well, I guess I'm stronger as a singer than anything else. I don't play an instrument anymore. I played a little guitar when I first moved to California, and it was so amateur compared to the people I was working with that I just kind of put it aside. I wish I hadn't. I'm actually thinking of taking some more lessons, but it's I don't really have a drive to be a musician. I just want to become a better singer. But I've started writing more, and I think that's real important for me as an artist. I think I shine through as an artist more when I sing my own material. So I'm writing more.
Who would you consider, say, contemporaries or even rivals? Now, forget about rivals. How about just contemporaries of yours? I mean, you wouldn't put yourself in a class with, say, Aretha Franklin, or maybe not even Barbara Streisand, or who would you see as other kind of people who are making similar music to yours?
Oh boy.
I mean, is there anybody you have always associated with or identified with? And when they put out an album, you think, I could listen to this to see what she's up to.
No, I've never done that. You know, in fact, one of my biggest, I've always been a big fan of Joni Mitchell. So, you know, I've gotten a few of my older influences come from her, but mostly male artists. There are not too many, except for, you know, I love Ronstadt, but I couldn't compare myself to her. And I love all the old Dusty Springfield, Jackie DeShannon material, things like that. But there's, I mean, I love Stevie Nicks. I like a lot of, you know, young female singers, but there isn't anybody that I worry about, you know. Like, I better listen to that, or, you know. Not that, you know, I'm great or anything, you know. I think if you start worrying about all the other things that are out there, you tend to get yourself in trouble, you know. So.
How about the Michael McDonald's influence on you? Like, say, before and after you two got together, meeting for the first album?
I don't, excuse me, I don't think it's really any different, because the influence, like I said, we're always from such a similar place, maybe him more than anybody, if you think it were female, you know, that actually I think after we did the first album, I was a little more concerned with trying to get away from the sound a little bit, meaning, you know, it's real hard to do a record with him producing and playing and singing on it without it having his sound. I don't feel threatened by that. Other people think I should, but I made an effort on this album to use a lot more guitars. You know, we had Steve Lukather, Robert Ford, and a lot of great people come in and concentrate more on the guitar work and, you know, a little more whatever. You know.
It must be easy to be influenced by him, though, because, I mean, his sound is so identifiable and so strong. And I mean, just ask Robbie Dupree and all the other guys who ripped him off.
And everybody else, yeah.
Right. Don't you find yourself falling into that, or
well,
it's not something you
I'm
really
sure there are
about?
people that think I do, you know. I've heard comments and read comments, you know. That's their problem, you know. I still sing the way I sing, and I always have sung the way I sing. So I think, you know, most of my vocal style came from my mother. She was a hillbilly singer.
Is that right?
She had a yodel, and so the break in my voice comes from her. You know, I know that I pick up and take on that sound from time to time, but you know, with him producing, it's just difficult to do not to have that happen. But I don't really think that he'll be producing the next record. So, just because of time schedules, and you know, I just think it's better, you know, because I haven't gotten really too much negative press about that, and that wouldn't be my reason. But his schedule is so busy, and mine is not so busy that I'd like to, you know, get a record out for another 3 years. So, because I've had to work around his touring and his recording, which is fine, except it's not fine these days because music changes so fast that you have to do 1 or 2 a year to keep up with everybody. So,
what's the advantage in being married to your producer? Or is there are there any disadvantages to it? Well,
the only disadvantage is, you know, if you maybe have a little tension in the studio, you still have to go home at night, you know. But we kind of worked that out, you know. We had days where maybe he rode me a little too hard on a vocal, and we'd have to drive home, and we go, hey, you let's just be Mike and Amy now. So we had pretty good luck with that. We didn't really have any uncomfortable times. We have a lot of fun together. And probably because we've been friends a long time, I really think that's helped us a lot in our work to be able to make that separation. But, you have to rise above it, because it's real easy to get nasty and, take it home, not talk, and the whole thing,
How about the advantage of having children?
The advantage? He's in the next room. If I have he's a good teacher. He's taught me a lot about dealing with the business, and just he really encouraged me to go out and sing live in local clubs before I did the second album, before the vocals, so that I would be ready. Because on the first record, we took, a long time to record that album, because he was with the Doobies. They were on tour 6 months. At one point, we'd record one song, he'd go on the road, come back. So when it came time for vocals on the first album, it was like, oh, I gotta sing now, huh? And I hadn't been singing. So he said, get out there. So I was just singing in L.A. in a local club, having a ball. In fact, the drummer I was using is playing with him now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Good. His name's George Perilli. Young guy, real great drummer.
How do you stay in shape as a vocalist?
Well, I've taken some, there's a coach in L.A. that's kind of famous. His name is Seth Riggs, and he was Stevie Wonder's teacher for about 11 years.
Stevie Wonder had a teacher?
Well, he doesn't teach you, he's not a coach.
Oh, he just basically keeps you in shape.
He doesn't tell you how to sing or, style-wise. He has a technique of vocal exercises that are just, there are different sounds, or like a brrr, or and you do scales, and different, or he'll have you do like a g sound, go up and down the scale, and it doesn't mess with your style at all. It just widens your range and works on the weak spots. So he has a lot of students in town that I've also, he went on to start working more with actors, and he got real expensive. So I started going to different students of his.
Any other names you can drop here of his students or people he's coached?
I think a lot of people. Rosemary Butler, I think, has taken from Seth, and boy, I think it's who. I'm not really sure. I know that Rosemary was a student at one time, and maybe Jackson Brown, Severn Brown. I'll think of it later, But a lot of people have used his technique. Because like I say, it's not like going to somebody that says, sing like this, He just has a different method that's real interesting, and it works. Mike fought me on it for a long time, and right before we left home, he went to a teacher himself and got a tape to work with. Because it really, if you're going to be singing along, if you're doing all the singing, which Mike's never done before, he's usually traded off with Patrick or whatever, it helps you sing longer and better, and you don't blow your voice out right away. It's a good warm-up. It's good for warm-up, in the morning or whatever. 15 minutes a day of that. That doesn't replace, though, the singing live.
Yeah.
That's one thing I learned. I took the lessons for a couple of years, and it just didn't take it didn't replace me getting up and having the adrenaline of being in front of people and pushing, It helps me, it definitely helps me carry the other off, but you need both. I mean, I need both. Not everybody needs the exercises, but they help me a lot.
Are you comfortable in front of people performing?
A lot more now. I have never done a big concert, and I have a feeling that's a lot easier than sitting, singing on a carpet in a pizza joint looking at somebody this close, when they're chewing on their toothpicks, But I'm looking forward to it whenever it happens, when I get tour support or whatever.
I get the feeling that, I don't know, that it may be just an illusion or something, but Mike never looks really comfortable on stage.
Well,
is that a mistaken impression?
He's a very shy person.
He seems that way on stage, and he's always criticized about that in the papers as well. He just sits there like a bump on a log.
Yeah. Well, this time he has to do something. Because he's up
front,
there. So there's a few moments where he picks up the mic and walks out.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's working on it.
Is he working?
Yeah.
It can't seem the type that's jumping around like John McPhee.
He's not, and I don't think he ever will be.
Yeah.
But that's not him.
It wouldn't look right anyway.
It wouldn't look right at all. But he's really, he knows that he needs to get up more and look out more. And he's never had to. He's always had the cushioning of, McPhee and Patrick and people that just did that second nature. And Michael's never been, maybe as a kid in bands he was, never jumped around, but, I think maybe he did a little more of that. But
he does do solo performing in the States. Or is this his first time?
This is his first tour.
Is that right?
Yeah, he opened in Lake Tahoe. He played Caesars in Lake Tahoe for a week, and then we went home for a couple of days and then came here.
Huh. I would rather see him, I think, like in a relaxed setting like a club or something rather than some stadium or, not stadium, but, a basketball court or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it would work. It would transfer to that kind of an atmosphere.
Well,
he's got those subdued songs.
He's just starting out. He's a new artist, basically now. It's a new career for him. So I think he deserves a chance to, I've seen him grow just in the last 2 months, having to put this tour together and realizing he's going to be out front now. So I think he needs some time and a chance to, he's learning every night, he's really taking it all in and watching the other, watching Boz and watching Joe, and, he's not either one of them. He's not that type of artist, but, I think, at Caesars he was walking out singing, and the women were kissing him and giving him flowers. And he loved it.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you guys talk much about work at home, or do you try to forget about it?
If it's the two of us, of course it comes up, because we've been involved he's been involved in my career up until now, and, living with him, I can't help but know what's going on with him. So we talk about it, but we have a lot of, on our off time, we have a lot of friends that are not in the business, or some of our friends like David Pack and Ambrosia, he and his wife are friends of ours, and we get together and barbecue, and Mike and I go camping and take our dogs and go hiking and stuff. I personally need time away from him, more than he does. He's, that's all he's ever done until me. So, not that I was the only woman, but, he just, music and work was all he did.
Do you give each other advice? Like tell him,
Yeah.
What you were doing the other night there, it was good, but,
Oh, yeah.
Kid,
Oh, yeah. I think
like, what kind of stuff in what ways has it changed, like, per your advice?
Well, I don't know that it's just my advice. I think, the only advice that I've given him is what we've been talking about, hey, all you have to do is turn your head and look at him, baby. Flash those blues and you got him,
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have to do a whole lot more than what he's doing, actually.
Yeah.
He's not sitting at the keyboard now, he's standing. He has a different setup, and I think, gradually he's coming out of his shell. He's definitely growing a lot right now. So, I give my opinion without sounding like a backstage wife.
What about the concert this time? I wonder what it's like performing with two big acts like that. This is not the type of thing you can see in the States very often.
I don't know, you should ask him.
Yeah. Well, how about you? You've seen the concert, right? What did you think?
I think it's a great idea.
Did it come up? Did it work out well?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like it does. It's different, because the show starts at 4:30. He goes on at 4:30, and he's the first act.
Right.
So, you know, not everybody's there yet, so that's new for him. So that's a little strange, you know, for me to personally to see that, you know, because I'm used to the 20,000 people screaming, Michael, you know. So, but, you know, also, I'm talking about here in Japan.
Yeah.
You know.
Is this your first time here, by the way?
Second.
Oh, really? Why did you come? How did you get here before?
I came to do promotion on my first album.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about 3 years ago this month. Just myself and my friend Sue, who's his tour manager this time. And she's real good. She does Ricky Lee Jones and Kim Collins. So we came just for promotion and TV, singing to track and stuff like that.
That was 3 years ago. What's the schedule going to be like from here on in? Are you just going to sit tight and see what happens with the soundtrack, or do you have anything lined up for
I'm
the
just
future?
concentrating on writing for the next record and getting material. I don't write all my own material yet, so I'm working on. I've got a few things set up when I get home to finish some stuff I've been writing with some friends and people connections I made through this last album. So my concentration is on writing for the next record.
How do you write?
I usually write with somebody that plays an instrument.
Oh, I see. You just like sing a melody and you back
Yeah.
up.
You know, like a friend of mine will just play chords and I'll hum out a melody and we'll both work on the lyric.
Is this friend somebody you always work with?
Well, actually, one of them I'm talking about, I'd never worked with before. He's been a friend for years. His name's Jeff Day. He co-wrote a song on this album. And another friend, I didn't write a tune with him for this album, but he and Mike wrote a song for it. He's a guitar player, Bob Terry, singer, songwriter, and he's real good. He's going to do stuff.
You ever co-write with Mike?
Yeah, Michael and I co-wrote the title track to the album.
Oh, really?
Hang on Your Every Word, and that was the first time we'd ever written together, so that was fun.
How did you do that? You started singing, he started to back you up, or did he come up with a melody? And you
he had a little melody idea for the chorus, and I loved it, so I just kind of ran in the living room and we worked on it for a couple of days. And it just kind of came out. So that was the first time. You know, he's been so busy since I've known him that, you know, it never occurred to me I could write with him, you know, or that I would write with him. I can write with him. I mean, of course I can write with him. But now it's, you know, I'm looking forward to just doing more of it.
He seems to go out and write with a lot of people.
Yeah, he likes to do it. It stimulates him. He feels a lot of, he likes that, you know, exchange. It gives him
Have you gotten to know a lot more musicians now that you're living with him?
Yeah.
And does that help you? You associate with more people now?
I guess it helps as far as, I mean, sure. I mean, any connections I make through anybody helps, whether it's him or whoever.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to get some pictures here now.
Okay.
Yeah, so thanks for the time then.
Sure.